Hey everyone, welcome back to the Monday Drive. We're still in our series of going through every week a different mission partner of ours here at Riverside. And so this week we get to meet with Hoops on Mission locally here in our backyard in Fort Myers and Cape Coral. And so today we have Lauren and we have Heidi joining us, and we're going to talk about what they've seen God do through the use of basketball, through the sport of basketball, and how they've used that to share the gospel. So welcome.
Glad
you guys are
much.
here.
Yes,
Thanks for being here.
We're excited.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about just you guys, kind of intro yourself, who you are, how you got connected to Hoops on Mission.
Yeah. So I'm Lauren. I have known Dwayne and his organization for a while now, but I recently started full-time working there, and I kind of do like the event coordinator, administrative stuff. Heidi can introduce herself.
Yes. I'm Heidi, and I've been with Hoops on Mission on staff for almost 2 years. Prior to that, I got to be at the on the board in the early years, so I've seen such growth, and it's just been an encouragement. But currently, I serve as the strategy and enrichment coordinator, which does a lot of vision casting and working with our students for college prep and those kinds of things.
Cool. And so if a lot of people in our church know Hoops on Mission. We've partnered with you guys for a lot of years and done basketball and Bibles drives and done different things and some camps. But if they don't know about Hoops on Mission, kind of from a 30,000 foot, what is Hoops on Mission? What are they going after?
Yeah, so Hoops on Mission is a multicultural nonprofit located right here in Southwest Florida, and exists to inspire and empower the youth in our community. So Dwayne Jackson, he's not here today, and his wife Karina Jackson founded Hoops on Mission about 8 years ago. Two of his cousins were tragically murdered here in the Dunbar area by gun violence. So he just felt like the Lord was calling him to be a light in this community. So he really wanted to start something. He didn't know what to do. So he started just reading with the kids in the schools. And then he just realized that there is such a need for the youth in our community to just have a place and people to love on them and care for them. So that's how Hoops on Mission started. And 8 years later, we now have a facility in Cape Coral. It's a basketball gym. So we have basketball training. We have monthly free middle school, high school nights. We do Biblical Leadership Academy, summer camps, and basketball is mainly the way that we get the students into the gym. And then having the staff and Dwayne, we just mentor them and teach them about God and show them that there's more to life than just basketball, that their identity needs to be in Christ.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how, from each of you, I know you said you were a board member first, and then now you kind of have extra role. Like, how did you guys go from just, hey, I know about hoops, that's great, and then to like saying, no, I want to be a part of this. Like, I want to dive in. What was that like for each of you?
For sure. For me, I was very committed very early on because of relationship with both Dwayne and Karina to be a part of their prayer team. And that was a very important part. And I was committed from the very beginning. I grew up in a small place in Wyoming where prayer was a big part of anything that we did. And so as a homeschooling mom at the time, I was just committed to serving in that capacity. And as over time, I would have ideas and I would just pass them along to Dwayne and Karina. And oftentimes they would, be like, oh yeah, we'll pray about that too, and we'll see what happens. And often some of those things have come to fruition. So just need to be kind of a behind the scenes participant. And about 2 years ago, one of those things that the Lord had laid on my heart, I think the Lord had also laid it on their heart, and it was kind of time. So just really neat timing. And that really has to do with the tutoring and the college prep element of the academic branch of Hoops on Mission that's being built out now.
I love that, especially because as a stay-at-home mom, I think a lot of times I hear from stay-at-home moms, they feel like, well, my job's here, I can't do a lot of other things, but prayer is so powerful, so for you to be able to be like, man, I'm going to pray, and that is huge, like a huge role that you can play. I love that, so that's awesome.
Yeah. So I needed service hours for FGCU. That's how I started. But I just fell in love with the kids and being able to, I was serving for probably like 3 months, and being able to just see in that short amount of time the growth that these students have and how excited they are to be in the gym and how much Dwayne loves them and they love Hoops on Mission. I was like, I need to do this full time. So I just kind of was like, Dwayne, anything you need, I'll be there and I'll do it. So now, like a year and a half later, I'm just so blessed to be there constantly and develop relationship with the students and have them know that they can come to me with anything. I'll pray for them, and we're just there for them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as you guys are, any ministry out there, any job out there, but any ministry especially, you guys have challenges. You guys got different issues that you guys face. And so what are some of those? What are some of the challenges that you guys wrestle with day in, day out?
Yeah, I'll touch on one of them. Dwayne is sad he couldn't be here, but he really wanted to highlight the fact that there's so many youth in our community alone that deal with things of not having a dad in the home, anxiety, depression, gun violence, and feeling like their situation, they have no hope in their situation. It's always going to be how they're living at home. And so he just is, I think that's what drives him every day to continue doing what he does, because there are so many kids here who have no hope. So we just want to continue praying and making sure that we are being the light in these kids, and we are being the Jesus that these kids are seeing every day, because they need it. Kids want to feel loved. They need to feel loved. So I think that's just the biggest challenge, is realizing how badly these kids really need love in our community.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I think another part of it is we are very grateful for an incredible community support. I think one of the challenges is consistent volunteers that are willing to do that relationship building and continue to be on board with the students, because they really do need a presence. It doesn't have to be anything magical. It's just being really present. And then from that, oftentimes those organic conversations will show some needs and where we can connect more. One specific area that we're in need of right now is a math tutor, and someone who we'd love to have someone that's consistent in that way, because that's a need that the community has.
Yeah, I know one thing. I've talked to Dwayne a lot. Love him and love spending time with him. And we miss you, Dwayne. One of the things that we've talked a lot about is kind of what you mentioned, and you mentioned a little bit with the consistency, is that because a lot of these kids that they're getting with don't have consistency at home, especially with dads, right? And so to have volunteers that just come in and come out isn't as helpful. Yeah. But what's helpful is that consistency. So if people are volunteering, being able to really think about, like, man, can I commit to this? Because they don't need any other men, especially walking out of their life. They need that consistency. And so I thought that was big every time we talked to Dwayne of like, man, there's a real need for being here and actually being here, not just kind of pop in, pop out and stuff. So that's awesome. What have you guys seen God do? So obviously there's tons of cool things, cool stories that you guys have been able to be a part of. And so what have you guys seen God do?
Well, last summer we had the privilege of having 3 high school interns. So they were going between their junior and senior year in high school. And we worked with them all summer. We, on a weekly basis, I met with them and supervised them. And we went through a checklist of a variety of different things that they were learning and growing in personal development. And at the end of the summer, 2 of them asked if they could continue on as volunteers. And so that was great. It was perfect timing. They're going into their senior years. They needed the community hours as well. But then Ian hits. And so it's a unique time where they don't have school. And we were having a lot of conversations, and students were in the gym, even though there wasn't school, and realized that these 2 gentlemen had GPAs that were college bound ready. And yet no one had really spoken into them and how to do that. And so we had time during Ian to do the whole college prep thing, and they learned how to write essays a whole lot better and applied to different schools and brought along another friend. And in the process of that, those 3 gentlemen now have over $100,000 in college scholarships, and not one of them is an athletic scholarship. They're all academic. So it's just really, that's been super interesting. And I mean, not interesting, just really exciting to see the Lord's provision and how he parted the waters for that to happen, literally in Ian. And in addition to that, there's leadership being developed now in addition to that with the younger grades, and we're just seeing that the Lord's opening doors. And it's been part of Dwayne's prayer also for 2023 that the seeds that we have seen would go deeper into like fertile soil, and we would see the outgrowth. And I think we're seeing that already. It's a huge answer to prayer.
Absolutely.
I love how Ian is such a horrible thing that happened, and so much devastation that we're still going to be rebuilding for a long time. But I love how like he can bring beautiful things out of awful things.
Yes.
And it's cool. I've heard several stories out of Ian, because of Ian, because of Ian, God did that. And so it's beautiful to see that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What about you? Anything that you've seen God do?
For sure. There's so many. It's hard to pinpoint one. I would say, so we have summer camps, and it's the whole month of June from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So the kids are always with us, which is exhausting, but we love it. And one specific student came in, and we could just tell he kind of had a little bit of an ego. He was like, no one's really going to tell me what to do. And so we just had to really work with him. Like, you can't act like that here. Like, we will call you out on it. And Dwayne is so good with that. He will call the students out because they need that. And just by the end of the 3rd week, he is like picking up trash. He's asking like, hey, can I come back and get some extra hours? He's asking about like, what is God? Like, what does that mean? So just to be able to see in 3 weeks the growth that he had, and if he wasn't there, like who knows if he would have gotten that. So I think that just what keeps me going, and it makes me realize that like God is in the works, and he's really working through Hoops on Mission.
That's awesome. And what are ways, like if our church listen to this, I know again we've partnered with Basketball Bibles Drive, some different things, but what are some ways that people could get involved? Like how could they help? How could they be a part of what you guys are doing? What would that look like?
Want to go?
Sure, I'll take it. There's a variety of things that we have. We had this conversation recently that we would love for there to be like a homeroom mom essentially or dad that would be present for every activity that we have. So they're just there, just really on site to love on both the parents, grandparents, and the students, just to be there. So we would love to have that consistency. If somebody wanted to take like, one Tuesday night a month or a Saturday or something like that, I think that would be fantastic. But we also always have needs for basketball coaches. So for those that are really skilled and enjoy that we have those quarterly leagues that would be available for those types. As like I mentioned earlier, a math tutor would be great to be on site a few times a month as well.
Yeah, and you can always find us on social media. Hoops on Mission is our Instagram, Facebook, so you can always email us to hoopsonmission@gmail.com and just be like, hey, I'm interested, and we'll give you all that information, but it's pretty much how we do it there.
Cool. And so when you guys are doing camps and basketball and stuff, is it I know there's a high majority of boys. Are there girl stuff? Like what do we have for girls in Hoops on Mission?
Yes, so that is definitely one thing that Dwayne has been wanting to build out, because there are so many talented girls here, and there's a need for that. So lately at training, our Tuesday and Thursday trainings, the boys will be on the one side of the court, and then we have like 10, 11 middle school girls.
Awesome.
We're finally getting girls, which is awesome. And then we have a travel team for girls.
Cool.
So it's definitely all girls are welcome, and it's fun to see how they interact with the boys. And a lot of times they're a little bit more competitive than the boys, and it's super fun. And to be able, especially as me and Heidi are girls, to be able to mentor girls.
Yeah.
Because it can be a little tough with the boys. They're like, I don't want to listen to you. But the girls just adore it, and it's super exciting to see that grow.
That's awesome. And when you talk about mentors, you talk about team mom, team dad, that kind of stuff. What if somebody's sitting there like, man, I'd love to do that, but like, I don't play a lick of basketball,
Okay, I don't either.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
So they can come out any age.
Yes.
You just want somebody that loves on these kids, that is a consistent role model for them, mentor for them, anchor for them.
One thing that I would recommend to any of adults that really want to come out is to first come and observe and see what's going on, because the Lord is truly at work. And that's one of the things I think we really enjoyed about being there, is just seeing what the Lord is doing and then getting to participate. But then also really listening to the students and engaging in that way where they're taking the initiative has been a game changer as far as I'm concerned, because I see they are so willing and eager to come and approach us if we're not overly overbearing, if that makes any sense. And so just being able to take that pause, walk in, observe, and listen, and be available, and they are just so happy to engage.
Yeah. What have you guys seen? I know sometimes, I think in lots of contexts this is true, but especially with kids, what have you seen helps to build trust? That's hard to build trust, especially when several of them have lost trust in adults and different things. So what have you guys seen that helps build trust?
Since I've been there, I feel like just being there is so important. A lot of the times we'll have coaches who come and go, and then when they come back, they're like, man, I missed you. Like, where have you been? Like, they're wanting people who are consistent. So I think being consistent and just being like, how was your day? Is there anything you need? Like, not forcing Jesus on them, but saying like, how are you? And getting to know them on a personal level, and then building like, do you know God loves you so much? And I think just because we know the truth about God, and I think they can see that in us, and they're a little bit more comfortable around us. So I think that is one way, just being consistent.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I think on my end, I have a huge heart for academics. I homeschooled for over 18 years, And I just ask them the simple question when they come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays, what'd you learn at school today? And, some of them will be like, I don't know, or nothing. And by the next week when I ask again, they usually have an answer, and the answers expound. And over time, that's just one simple question that's on repeat. I mean, they know they're going to get the question from me. Yep. It sounds simple, but it really does connect, and they're willing to share, even though that sometimes it's not cool to be academic or in the learning, like, oh, I've got to remember something I learned today, and yet they do. So I think that's really one of those things, is coming up with something that's consistent to connect.
Yeah. I think something that's so powerful that I think a lot of people underestimate or just push to the side as not really a ministry, but I think the ministry of presence is a big deal. And I think especially in our day and age of, you got the phone all the time, you got all this stuff, just to have your attention for a little bit is a big gift to give. And so I think if anybody's listening out there, interested in this specific thing, I think realizing, hey, you don't have to have some certain gift or crazy, that it's just could you just show up? Could you just show up? Could you be consistent? Could you love these kids and continue to stay in their life? I love that. What for you guys? I know Dwayne has vision. He's a crazy visionary. I love talking to him because I'm always how do you even think about this stuff? He's amazing. What would you guys say 3 to 5 years from now? What's the goal? What's the dream? What are you guys praying big for?
I think right now, praying for Hoops on Mission in different states, in different cities. So implementing what we have here, going to those places, training them, and implementing what we have here into those different cities and states, and even maybe a location in Fort Myers would be cool.
Come on.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and a van. His van got ruined in Hurricane Ian. Yes. So can't forget about, we need a new van.
Yes, exactly.
Somebody's out there.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to buy a van.
Yeah, exactly. I have really enjoyed watching the growth of the athletic side and seeing the academic side grow. And I know that Dwayne's huge heart is for 3 to 5 years from now, our students, those seeds in the spiritual aspect of their lives have gone deeper, and it's a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that with some of our early our early Hoops on Mission guys are now graduating from college, and some of them have been college athletes and have not only consistent walks with the Lord, but they are also have been 3 to 5 years or 3 to 4 years involved in youth ministry in their own communities where in college. So to me, that in and of itself is a great testimony that we would like to see replicated over the next 3 to 5 years.
Cool. That's awesome. Man, well, thank you guys. Thank
you
guys for
so
being
much.
here.
Yes,
Thanks for sharing your heart. I'm thankful for Dwayne, for you guys, for the team, to just be able to be an outlet for kids, to be able to have a space, to have a safe space, to build relationship, to use the sport of basketball, and to ultimately talk about the gospel. It's amazing. So thank you guys. For the rest of y'all, we will see you guys next week as we have another mission partner join us and continue our series, getting to know our mission partners here at Riverside Church. Take care.